Welcome in, everybody. Let's dive right into today's explainer. We're going to take some standard, tricky multiple choice questions and totally transform them into a high-yield masterclass for your competitive literature exams. If you're prepping for the NET, KSET, or really any major literary exam, you already know that rote memorization, it's just not going to cut it anymore. You need strategy, you need context, and honestly, you need rock-solid recall triggers. So we're decoding questions 51 through 60 right now, handing you the exact memory tricks that will literally save you when that exam clock is ticking down. We've got a logical study guide lined up to really lock these facts into your brain. We'll hit Renaissance and Jacobean drama first, move into the Restoration and Romantic era, tackle modern literature and stage, break down some essential dramatic concepts, and wrap it all up with a quick exam revision matrix. All right, let's get started with Section 1, Renaissance and Jacobean drama, setting the stage. Okay, let's test your knowledge right out of the gate on some of the heaviest hitters. Other than Julius Caesar, which Shakespeare play best depicts Roman life? Take a second. Is it Troilus and Cressida, Coriolanus, Romeo and Juliet, or Two Gentlemen of Verona? Well, if you guessed Coriolanus, you hit the nail on the head. It is widely considered Shakespeare's most authentically Roman play. Now, the absolute key detail they're going to test you on here is that it's based on Plutarch's lives, and it heavily portrays Roman politics and civic conflict. You can actually use a quick process of elimination here, right? Troilus and Cressida is all about the Trojan War, and obviously Romeo and Juliet and Two Gentlemen of Verona are famously set in Italy, not ancient Rome. So when you see this pop up on your test, I want you to anchor it with this instant memory trick. Just think, Roman hero equals Coriolanus. Simple as that. Remember, along with Julius Caesar and Antony and Cleopatra, this play makes up his principal Roman trio. Moving on to a much darker piece of literary trivia. Which of these famous writers actually met a violently untimely end? Specifically, who was killed in a tavern brawl? Your options are Thomas Kyd, Robert Greene, John Lyly, or Christopher Marlowe. It was Christopher Marlowe. The crucial, testable point here is that Marlowe died at the age of just 29 back in 1593. He was in Deptford, got into a dispute at a tavern, and suffered a fatal stab wound right above his eye. It's a mysterious death that's still a massive historical controversy today. As for the other authors on that list, they all died of natural causes. So your quick association here, Marlowe equals tavern death. Now, just to wrap up this era, you really need to memorize these two rapid-fire Jacobean facts because they pop up on exams constantly. First up is Ben Jonson's Volpone, which is a ruthless satire on greed. Your memory trick? Volpone literally translates to fox, so fox equals Jonson. Next, we have Beaumont and Fletcher's The Maid's Tragedy. Get this, the play was actually temporarily banned. Stuart-era audiences thought it contained subtle political hints at regicide or killing a king. So king dies equals regicide. Exam boards absolutely love asking about political censorship, so definitely keep that in your back pocket.
Moving right along to Section 2, Restoration to Romantic Era Comedies and Critics.
All right, here's a famously tricky one regarding William Congreve's 1700 play, The Way of the World. Exam questions on this play are notorious for trying to trip you up with random dates and minor plot points. Let's see what's really important. Surprisingly enough, this absolute masterpiece actually bombed when it was first staged. Yep, today it's regarded as probably the finest restoration comedy in existence. But that initial audience, they just didn't get it. So remember this trick. World failed equals became a classic leader. Do not let test makers fool you with options claiming it was published in 1702 or distract you with minor characters. The historical irony of its initial failure on stage is exactly what they are testing you on. Next up, we have a highly testable quote by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. He famously said, "To see him act is like reading Shakespeare by flashes of lightning." So who was this revolutionary romantic actor he was fanboying over? Was it David Garrick, Richard Burbage, John Philip Kemble, or Edmund Kean? He was talking about Edmund Kean. Kean completely revolutionized romantic acting with these incredibly intense, visceral Shakespeare performances. So, when you're scanning your exam paper and your eyes catch the phrase, flashes of lightning, your brain needs to immediately lock onto Kean. Lightning equals Kean, boom, point secured. Okay, jumping into the 20th century with Section 3, Modern Literature and Stage, Seclusion and Absurdity. Let's talk Iris Murdoch. Which of her novels tells the story of an aging theater celebrity who withdraws into total seclusion to write a diary? Are we talking about The Sandcastle, Under the Net, The Sea, or Flight from the Enchanter? The answer is The Sea, the Sea. This specific novel actually won the Booker Prize back in 1978. It follows Charles Araby, a super famous retired director whose supposed peaceful seaside retreat gets totally derailed by obsession and ego. Now, pro tip here, exam boards love testing award winners, so definitely note that 1978 Booker connection. And your instant recall mechanism, just link the word sea to Araby's seclusion. Sea equals seclusion. This brings us to another massively tested area, Samuel Beckett's iconic stage settings. Match the following questions are incredibly standard for Beckett, so you really need to lock in these visual pairs. For Waiting for Godot, always look for the country road and a tree. Happy Days, that's Winnie buried in an expanse of scorched grass forming a low mound. Endgame strictly features a bare room with 2 high windows. And Krapp's Last Tape, that is simply described as a late evening in the future. Memorize these exact pairs and you will easily grab those points. All right, on to Section 4, Essential Dramatic Concepts, Irony and Farce.
So a fundamental concept you're practically guaranteed to see is dramatic irony. Now please, don't confuse this with verbal irony, situational irony, or just a simple plot twist. Dramatic irony is strictly about the tension created when we, the audience, know the tragic truth, while the characters on stage remain completely, totally clueless. The classic textbook example that shows up on exams all the time is Sophocles' Oedipus Rex. The audience knows Oedipus is the murderer. He absolutely does not. So audience knows more equals dramatic irony. Furthermore, if a multiple-choice question asks you what makes a farce successful, and your options are absurd plot, exaggerated actions, or both, you have to choose both. A farce strictly relies on this crazy combination of impossible situations, mistaken identities, and heavy physical slapstick. It is all about prioritizing pure, unadulterated laughter over any kind of realism. So your formula for the exam is simple. Farce equals fast, funny, and impossible.
Finally, let's wrap this up with Section 5, Quick Exam Revision, the final matrix.
I highly recommend grabbing a screenshot of this summary right now. It covers the exact question numbers, the correct answers, and the core topics we've decoded today. But as you're locking this grid into your memory, I want to leave you with one final thought. When you're sitting in that exam hall, staring down a multiple choice question that you initially thought was impossibly difficult, which of these exact memory tricks, from the flashes of Edmund Kean's lightning to the secluded sea of Charles Araby, is going to be the precise key that unlocks your perfect score? Keep studying smart, and you've got this.